Hello crafters, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm creating birthday cards because I never have enough of those. And I'm experimenting with wax beads to create color-coordinated embellishments for my cards. So not just wax seals, but also wax embellishments. We're going to do die cutting, some dry embossing with 3D embossing folders, and a lot of wax sealing and wax pouring in this video. Now, I've done some prep work ahead of time, and I've already put one card together, this one with the black background. Now, it is not yet 100% finished, but I am using it as an example to replicate the rest of my cards. Now, what I have here are these beautiful branches, and these are from the sealed berry sprig die set from Spellbinders. I cut them from 2 shades of green cardstock, Peridot and Rainforest, and all of the cardstock I'm using today is from Spellbinders. The berry pieces are cut from black, pink sand, and wild berry cardstock. Now, I also have the twine pieces here. You will not believe this was made using a die when you see it on a card. You can see now that it is made from paper, but when you see it on a card, it looks, mind-blowing. It is simply genius to design a die that cuts paper to look like twine wrapped around a card. You simply cut 2 pieces and then connect them to have your twine. Or, of course, you can use actual twine if you want. I love this die because it allows me to have any color twine I want, so I can cut it from colored cardstock and have it match my project if I need to. And this die is called Sealed Twine Die, again from Spellbinders. For these cards, I cut my twine from mere gold cardstock. Next, I have already embossed several cardstock panels using the Spellbinders Dimensional Diamond Embossing Folder, and I embossed it on brushed black, brushed white, wildberry, and mahogany cardstock. The brushed white and black are my favorite, as those have a little bit of shimmer to them, and they look very, festive and exquisite, and they feel like luxury cardstock. Let's go ahead and start working on our cards. I have my berry branch die cuts, and I'm going to assemble the berries. It's super easy. Although I have to say, these might look a little bit like flower buds. That's what they look like to me in my head. This is a branch that is about to bloom, so we have little flower buds that are just starting to open up. I'm using my Bearly Art Glue and Crystal Katana tool to pick up and adhere the flowers or, the berry layers onto the branch. I wanted to do something different, so I tried cutting one layer from black cardstock, and I kind of love this look. It is very dramatic. I also cut some of these branches from black cardstock, and they look phenomenal. I might go ahead and use them for some funky modern cards later. I'm then adding the wild berry color berries over my black layer. And again, I love this contrasting color combination. Now, the other branch is going to be much more simple, just the hot pink for one layer and then the light pink for the other layer. So I went ahead and assembled all of the berry branches, and I'm ready to start putting my cards together. I used my Platinum 6 die cutting and embossing machine along with the new Universal Plates system to dry emboss these backgrounds. If you're purchasing the new and improved Platinum or Platinum 6 embossing machines from Spellbinders, they will come with the new Universal Plate system. If you have the old Spellbinders machine, you can get the Universal Plate system separately for your machine to be able to use these new 3D embossing folders, as they do require this system. I have another video talking about this system and the new 3D embossing folders if you'd like to go in depth about these products. But basically, use your platform, add the embossing folder with the paper inside of the folder, cover it with the gray adapter plate, and send it through your machine to emboss. So I have my background, and I love how this looks embossed on that brushed white cardstock. It really is very luxurious, and I cannot recommend this paper enough. Seriously, guys, try it, and you'll tell me how much you love it. I'm adding 2 branches. I'm positioning them slightly to the right of the panel. I do not want these to be centered. And I also have a bunch of gold die cuts. So these were all made using another die set from Spellbinders called Sealed Squiggles. I'm adding 3 of those squiggles. I'm tucking them behind my berry branches, forming, some sort of an arrangement. Think of this as a little bouquet. All of these die cuts have a very long stem to them, and this is intentional to allow you to form them into a bouquet. You can add a bouquet wrapper around it. You can tie some twine, or you can add a wax seal to tie them together. So that's why these stems are so long. Now you can, of course, trim the stems and shorten them if you don't need them this long, especially if you're using these differently. So you certainly have this option. I've added a piece of yellow tape to secure the stems. For now, I will be adding twine, the die cut twine, and then a wax seal on top of these later. As for the twine, you will need 2 pieces of 2 die cut pieces, 2 faux twine die cut pieces for 1 card to make it look like it has twine wrapped around it. Now this twine die is designed to be long enough to work even on a slimline card, so it is pretty versatile. I'm using glue to adhere it to my card, just adding glue onto that circle and placing it over my yellow tape. Now I'm also cleaning the little hairs or, the little die cut bits. I don't really know how to call these properly, but I am cleaning them to make this die cut look a little better and cleaner and nicer. So I'm scraping the edge of the die cut with my nail a little bit to get it all off, or, most of it off. And then I'm adding the second piece overlapping that circle area. The circle piece is there specifically for you to place the wax seal over it. So that's why it is there, in case you're wondering. While that is drying, I'm going to work on a sentiment for my cards and also on the tiny wax embellishments. And that is going to be created using, you guessed it right, wax seals. I am obsessed with seals lately. I love how they look on cards. And Spellbinders has a wonderful collection of wax seal products. They have everything you need to make beautiful seals, including these die products, allowing you to create die-cut branches, that remind you or me of dried branches that one would use with the seals. Here I have my starter kit, so the warmer piece, and then the spoon, and I've already lit the candle in the warmer, so my spoon is warming up. I'm going to play with various colors of wax beads to create the perfect shade of pink for my wax seals. This is something I absolutely love doing lately. I love mixing the different wax bead colors to come up with new colors for my cards. Here I have 3 pink beads and 1 pearlescent white bead. I also have some leftover pink wax in my spoon, so all of that is going to be mixed together to create a new wax color. While the wax was melting, I also got a few other beads ready for my next seal. So I have 3 pink and 1 fuchsia beads to experiment and create a slightly darker pink color. Now at this time, wax looks about ready. So I'm going to mix it really well in the spoon to make sure I have 1 color wax. I don't want to have a marbled effect. You can definitely have that if you want. For this wax seal, I want to have just 1 solid color. And so I'm mixing my wax really well using the pokey end of my tool-in-one. You can also use a toothpick or, anything else. Once I'm done mixing it, I try to wipe the end of the pokey tool on the lip of the spoon to get most of the wax off. And now I'm ready to pour my wax and create my seal. So I have my stamp ready with the wax poured. I gently place it inside the wax. I'm not pressing down at all, but I'm rather letting the gravity pull the stamp down. Now I also add the previously prepped beads into the spoon and let them melt. This is very relaxing. I love this process, even just making seals for fun, melting wax, pouring wax, pressing the stamp into the wax. There's something magical about it. And actually, this is something that I can do without electricity. We have had massive blackouts in Ukraine, and I really struggle when there's no electricity, but I can do my crafting, at least a part of my crafting without any light. I can light some candles and I can play with my wax seal. So that's another therapeutic and relaxing thing for me. Now, you can also highlight the seal design using markers or specialty paint pens. This often looks amazing. Now, I'm not going to lie. It doesn't look amazing every single time. I will tell you that I messed some of my seals this way. The marker slipped or the color of the marker didn't really go well with the color of the seal. But it is not a big deal, as you can remelt your wax, your seal, and you can re-pour your seal even if you added the marker highlight to the design. So nothing goes to waste, and you can experiment as much as you want. So if you feel like adding the highlight design to your seal, go ahead and do it. Even if you mess it up, you can remelt it and re-pour it and try again. By this point, the glue holding the die-cut twine had dried, and I can now wrap the twine around my card panel and secure it from the back. I'm just adding a piece of yellow tape to hold it together. Next, I'm adding glue to the circle area and gluing the wax seal on top. I'm going to once again set it aside and let the glue dry, as again, I'm gluing two non-porous surfaces together. Now let's go back to our seals for a little bit. I have my spoon with a little bit of wax in it, not a lot. I just have 2 melted beads here. What I'm going to do is pour small dots onto my mat. So you can pour not only wax to make seals, but you can also pour wax to make little dot embellishments for your cards. Think similar to enamel dots, but wax dots instead. Because you know what? Why not? It is a little tricky to do small dots, as it actually isn't that easy to control how much wax is being poured, but it is still possible. Smaller dots are easiest to do when the wax is the hottest. As it starts to cool off, you will have a harder time creating very small dots. So best to create smaller dots at first and then do the larger dots later. So this way, I can create little embellishments that match the color of my wax seals and even my cardstock. This process takes a little longer than pouring wax for a seal. The wax cools off in the spoon and you might need to reheat it, depending on how much wax you had in the spoon to begin with or how many dots you want to make. But that's not a problem, just put it back on the warmer, wait a few seconds, and continue to pour it to create the embellishments that you need. Now, if the dots that you pour aren't perfectly round, you can go ahead and remelt them. Wait for them to cool off, pick them up, place them in your warmer spoon, and remelt them and re-pour them so that nothing goes to waste and you have exactly what you need. And by the way, you can remelt your seals too. If you're not happy with your design, just cut the seal into 4 pieces or more, add them to your spoon, and remelt it. Now, the wax cools off pretty quickly, so I can pick up my embellishments and place them on my card to decorate it. And I love this. The little dots are nice and dimensional. They match in color perfectly to the seal and they complement the card perfectly. I first place them onto my card without using glue. I just first want to figure out the placement, make sure I have them positioned correctly. And then I glue them down using my Barely Art glue. So here's a look at the 4 cards that I created. All 4 are pretty much identical. The only difference is in the color of the cardstock used. Let me know which one is your favorite. I will tell you that I love the white one the most. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.